On tonight's show, we have credit specialist and entrepreneur, Will Roundtree. And now for your host, KoolKard. Let's stop that. Welcome back, everybody. We are now into episode 9, man. It's been a journey. Episode 9. Last episode 8, we had Gabby B. Gabby B, man, she's pop star in the making. I'm telling you, Brazilian pop star from Miami. Go check her out. She dropped a new video. You can check her out at Gabby B _music on Instagram. All that good stuff. She has a new EP coming out. So make sure you check her out. Just want to show her some love on the back end. But going into this week, we got somebody new. And if you are tuning in, you may know this guy. You may know this gentleman. And if you don't know this gentleman, maybe you are here to learn about some credit. Maybe you're having some credit issues. Maybe you're just trying to figure out how you can leverage your credit. Whatever it is, this man has the answer for you. Credit is king, full-time CEO. Those are books he has written, but those are true to life words, true to life phrases, true to life terms you need to get to know and know well. It can change your life. All right. We got Will Roundtree on the show. And this guy, I mean, he's everywhere. He's everywhere. So you might have heard of him. You might know him. You might have seen him, because if you follow him on Instagram, he has a whole bunch of followers. He's doing his thing. He's into these communities, man. He's diving into people's lives. He's changing people's lives with his services. And it's genuine. It's not a money grab. All right. So we'll talk about his backstory, how he got into it. He'll give you some nuggets, give you some inspiration on getting your credit right, on how to increase your credit and do other things with your credit if your credit is good. All right. Real good brother, man. Like I said, it's just all genuine, and you'll get that as soon as I bring him on. You know that if you've been following him, if you follow his YouTube, he does a lot of lives. He gives a lot of good free information, free game that you could take and just change your life with. And that's before even utilizing any of his services. So that just goes to show you how giving and how much he really cares about what he's doing and the information he's putting out into the world to everyone. All right. So without further ado, let me bring on Will Roundtree. Give him a nice KoolKard intro the way I do it. All right. So without further ado, y'all check Will out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Will Roundtree. What's going on, brother?
Oh, man, everything. Appreciate the invite. Thank you for inviting me on, and I'm a huge fan myself.
Oh, man, I appreciate it. Huge fan of yourself, myself.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, it's an honor to have you on the show. And for you guys that don't know, I've known Will for a while now. I mean, we're not like great friends. We do have a good mutual friend that knows both of us very well, but I've met Will in the past, known of Will. And this is what I want to say before we start the intro. I'm about to gloat about you, man. All right. For those of you that do know, but for those that don't know, Will, he has built 2 multi-million-dollar companies, and that's not to brag, that's not to gloat, that's just to show you where you can really go from where he's come from and to where he is now. All right. So that doesn't happen by chance. There's no magic pixie dust you sprinkle on somebody that can put them in that position. There is no secret to success, all right, so to speak. But this is what I want to say about Will and why he is where he is right now and why he is the person that he is right now. Will, from day one, from when I first heard about you from Carlos,
Right.
our mutual friend, he always told me how much hustle you had. How much hustle you had and how much willingness you had in
Right.
you to just do the things that normally people wouldn't do if they weren't getting paid, if they really didn't see the end result firsthand. You were just always willing to just be involved in whatever endeavor somebody brought to you that that you trusted in, of course,
Right.
and that you thought that maybe it could take, go somewhere. So me, Will, Carlos, we've had some endeavors in the past. Those didn't work out for whatever reasons. But Will was always that guy, man. I'm telling you, Carlos always spoke highly of you, always
Yeah,
said
appreciate that.
great things about you, about your hustle, man, and just your dedication and just your passion to just be great, to be involved, to give your input and just hustle. Just hustle, hustle, hustle. And something you said that I use in the intro about just being extraordinary is just being doing a little bit extra. And you've
Absolutely.
always did that even when maybe you didn't have it, maybe you didn't even know the end point or what the end result would be. You just trusted the people that you were involved in it with. But I'm telling you, man, like where you are now is not by chance. You worked hard, and
Thank you,
I'm
man.
gonna say I'm proud of you. I know a lot of people are proud of you. And I mean, you're just doing great things, man. And it's really a good look. And I love how you're giving value to people. And that's what this show is about. And that's why I had to have you on here. Because I gotta have you give them some gems, some nuggets, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a lot of people out here that want to get their credit right. They want to be entrepreneurs. They just don't know how. Some people just don't know what they need to know. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
without further ado, I just want to kind of jump into the interview. Started off by asking you, can you give us an overview of your business, your businesses, everything that you're doing with We Service Management, We Management Services, right?
Right. Correct.
All over the place with that, but
No, it's all good.
but yeah, I'll give you the platform.
Okay, no. First of all, thank you for having me, man. I wasn't expecting an intro like that, so no. Appreciate it. And like you say, we've been knowing Carlos mutually for, man. I think I met Carlos almost 15 years ago,
Yeah,
and he's just always been a good brother, a brother to me. I mean, he's seen me from the highs and lows, and he would always talk about you. And so we definitely haven't had a lot of opportunities, you and I, to work together, but indirectly, we've always been in the same circle. So I definitely appreciate you too. But just a little bit about myself, Will Roundtree. I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Been in Las Vegas since 2005. And my company, We Management Services, is really, we're a financial education company, I like to call us. My parent product or service started out just doing credit education. I never really like to say I do credit repair. That is mainly just a byproduct because it's a million people that do credit repair but know nothing about credit. Our focus has always been we want to educate you and let you make an educated decision. And if you want to hire us, that's cool. If not, we'll show you how to go get the information so you can do it yourself. Outside of that, we also offer helping small and medium sized businesses get access to capital through creative financing strategies. We also are real estate investors, so we teach real estate investing. I'm an entrepreneurship coach, so I help a lot of small and medium sized businesses grow their businesses. Actually went to an event Sunday similar to like a Shark Tank style, where we were looking at up and coming businesses or entrepreneurs to invest in their companies. And I saw this company, two little young queens, 9 and 6, who I'm going to start mentoring them to help them grow their business. So I do a lot of mentorship, a
wow.
lot of coaching. Motivational speaker. Some have pegged me as. Never really considered myself that. Of course, a two-time author, and just all around entrepreneur. I like to say I'm a serial entrepreneur. And so one of the things a lot of people always ask me, how come your company isn't a credit company? And I did that purposely because I never wanted to be just a one trick pony. I
Right.
never wanted to be pegged as just a credit guy. That was more so just my springboard to get into opening up other avenues, because no matter what you're doing in business, you're always going to need credit. And so once I was able to kind of establish my foothold in the door in that space, in that industry, in that genre, it opened up a lot of other doors for me just to be the all around entrepreneur that I've been, breeding myself to be over the past 15 years.
Right, man. So what I want to know, and I'm sure how what a lot of people want to know, because a lot of people have ideas,
Right.
a lot of people have ventures, a couple of ventures, and they just don't know how to manage it. They don't know how to juggle it. How do you manage to juggle it? Was it kind of like an evolutional thing? Was it to where you started one thing and it kind of just snowballed into the other? Kind of it had extensions, or how did
Yeah.
that all come about, and how do you manage to juggle that?
Yeah. Great question. So I would like to say I kind of had an unfair advantage in learning that, because the thing is before I actually started growing my businesses, I learned about business first.
Okay.
And so I got my start in entrepreneurship through network marketing, which is actually how I ended up in Las Vegas. So I learned a lot about personal development, time management, different things like that. So as I started to grow my companies, I learned how to, as for lack of better words, juggle.
Okay.
Now, one of those things is that I only focus on income producing activity during income hours.
Right.
So I'm not doing anything that's not related to us growing the bottom line of the company during business hours. So I do a lot of the things that aren't necessarily income generating things outside of business hours. And so I say that because I speak to so many entrepreneurs where they spend most of their time doing things that aren't going to generate the company money in the beginning.
Right.
And so how I juggle my time is I focus on that. Secondly, I don't do it alone. I've created a team.
Okay.
And that's the thing that a lot of us newer entrepreneurs have to understand. And I get it. It's your baby. You don't want anybody else to touch it. It's your vision. But you have to learn how to relinquish and delegate. And that's really ultimately what a CEO is. They're the maestro. They're the visionary. They're the leader of the engine. I always often say Henry Ford never built an automobile. He was the visionary of the Ford Motor Group, but he hired people that he can delegate the things. But people still revere Henry Ford as one of the greatest inventors of all time, but he never built the automobile. So how I've been able to delegate my time is, one, learning about time management, two, learning how to delegate, three, focusing on whatever is income producing activity, doing that during income producing hours. And so, but that's things that I've learned over a course of 15 years. So it definitely did not come overnight.
Right. Can you explain to the audience the importance of mentorship and give us your backstory on how you were mentored, who you were mentored by, the pivotal one, because I
Absolutely.
had many. But yeah, can you give us the importance of mentorship and what it has done for you? All of that.
Oh man. So I tell people, and I often compare business journey like trying to get in shape.
Mm.
Like I can remember just going to the gym just to go, and I got no results because I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
And so how can one go into a completely foreign industry thinking they're going to get results? Now, could it happen? Absolutely. But I wanted to be able to know what I had to do to a T and work with someone that's kind of already been through the field with the machete.
Right.
And so mentorship was extremely important for me because they're going to let me know the pitfalls. They're going to let me know what's going to be beneficial. They're going to let me know what to look out for. And understanding that there's a certain investment that comes with that. And so I often tell people, why would someone invest in you if you're not willing to invest in yourself? And so mentorship is vitally important. Now, mentorship doesn't always have to come in the form of working with someone one-on-one. I mean, books and audiobooks were my first mentors because I couldn't afford to pay to sit with someone.
Right.
But that was a stepping stone that helped me develop my mindset to be able to say, you know what, if I really want it, I'll go sell my shoe collection. If I really want it, I'll go work a third shift job. I'll go drive Uber. I'll save up enough money so I can go and pay and invest to get to that next level. And so I just was willing to sacrifice and do what I had to do. I can remember when I moved to Las Vegas and, I wasn't making any money. And so I would go and power wash buildings third shift. I just did what I had to do legally, of course,
Right.
to be able to make some money to reinvest back into myself. And a lot of that came in the form of mentorship. And so I remember one of the one-on-one mentorships I invested in and I invested in a coaching call with one of my mentors, and that coaching call was $1,500.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't have the liquid cash, but I had a credit card. And me having the business mind I had, I was like, I'll put it on a credit card. I can make monthly payments on it, and it's a tax write-off.
Right.
I do that all day and twice on Sundays. And so, but because a lot of us just say $1,500 to talk to somebody, if you deem their information value, it's not a cost, it's an investment. And that 1,500 has turned over a million times over. And so just understanding we have to be willing to invest in ourselves, because why would I expect someone to stop everything they're doing, running all their businesses to poor and little old Will Roundtree at the time. Like I brought no value to them.
Right.
And so so mentorship is vitally important. That was one of, definitely one of the many, mentorship opportunities that I've invested in. And then I'm always constantly reinvesting into mentorship, going to conferences, paying, for mentorship in other areas, having a tax specialist. I have an attorney, so I'm learning different laws and different tax strategies and different business strategies, having a business coach. So no matter what level you're at, you still need mentorship. It's the same reason why LeBron has a coach. He has a strength and conditioning coach. He has a 3-point shooting coach. Like, you want to have mentors to help you in every facet of where you want to be great at. And so, I mean, it's almost, you can't afford not to have a mentor when you're trying to get to a certain level in life of whatever it is you're trying to accomplish.
So it's safe to say it costs money to make money. And that's what people need to understand. You
Right.
have to be willing to invest in yourself. Like you said, you have to be willing to invest in yourself if you want somebody to invest in you or even take you seriously. How can they even take you seriously if you're not willing to invest in yourself? And it may not even be $1,500. It could be $500. It could be four hundred
It could
dollars.
be $100.
Like you said, it could be a book.
So,
Are you reading regularly?
true.
Are you,
Right.
are you trying to gain the knowledge so that you do know what you need to know and that you didn't know? You know what I mean? Sometimes it,
Absolutely.
sometimes it's just in a book. But if you want to take it to that next level, then yeah, it's always good to go and seek out someone who, like you said, been through the field with the machete, who knows the pitfalls, who knows what the snakes are, and they can kind of guide you along the way.
Definitely.
So let's get into this credit. Let's get into credit because I
All
know
right.
that's the buzz in the keyword here. Credit. Everybody
Correct.
wants to know about credit. What is what's the import? First, let's say what's the importance of good credit? What
Oh
is the
man,
importance of good credit?
this could be an hour topic,
And
but
okay, let me add to that then,
all
because everybody pretty much knows what the importance of good credit is, but it's
right.
far deeper than probably what they're thinking. Why shouldn't someone be intimidated by their low credit score?
Good question. So, couple reasons. One, credit is really just a tool. And so, just like a great carpenter, you can't build a house without tools.
Right.
Credit is a tool to get through life. Yeah, could you get through life without it? Absolutely. But it'd be probably a little bit more difficult. What do I mean by that? Credit dictates the school zone your kids go to school in.
Absolutely.
Because when you have bad credit, you probably have to live in a less than desirable neighborhood.
Yep.
Employers are pulling your credit score. I've had clients who came to us, sat down with us, decided not to move forward with service, go and try to apply for employment and got rejected because their credit score was not in position. You
Wow.
know, your insurance rates dictate your credit score. So it's so much bigger than just getting a credit card, buying a home, and different things like that. And then, and I know we're going to talk about this a little bit more, credit, again, it being a tool, it's really just a lifeline. Because imagine you being in a position where you need 500 bucks. What are the alternatives for a lot of us in our communities? Check cashing places
Yep.
where you got to go get
I
a check cashing, a title loan where the interest rate is 200 to 1,000%.
right.
The average person will never pay that off.
Nah.
But if I have a credit card, as I call, just in case of emergency break glass, doesn't mean you have to use it. But if I have a credit card for $5,000 that I keep in the shoebox for emergencies, and I need 500 bucks to go replace my brakes or my radiator, guess what? I'm not subjective to predatory lending institutions like the payday loan and the title loan.
Right.
And so just understanding it really is just a tool, but we've gotten so conditioned to think it's bad, it's taboo, it's the devil, and this, that, and the third. I'm like, I know people who have burnt checking accounts, so it's not that credit is bad, it's that we've been irresponsible with credit. And
Absolutely.
so, and then we've only looked at it from a consumer standpoint. I mean, I've had clients where credit has been a tremendous lifesaver for them because they've had a loved one who maybe gotten incarcerated and they needed bail money.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine, what do you do if you can't come up with 500 bucks to bail out your son, get your uncle or whoever out of jail, but you have a credit card? I know people who have titled their vehicle or mortgaged their home for $3,000. And so just it's like we have to understand, like we have to stop looking at it as it being bad. It's really just a lifeline, as I like to call it. And
Yeah.
so when you understand that, you're not you're not looking at it from, oh, an intimidation factor,
Right.
or because we look at our scores and it doesn't reflect what society deems as good credit, we get intimidated in that fashion. And so I tell people, and I have friends jokingly who are involved in things that we that are the underworld, let's just say.
Mhm.
they're 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 scared to look at their credit, but they're not scared to go toe to pistol. So like we
Right.
have to get out of this mindset of credit. That's why I'm so passionate about just educating us about it. Like it doesn't have to be a bad thing, and no matter what your credit score is, it can always be rebuilt, it can always be restored, it can always be repaired. Now it may take some time, but just know you can always rebound, and don't let the 3-digit number intimidate you because it doesn't reflect what you think it should be, because it can always improve once you understand and educate yourself how to improve it. And that's really the biggest thing that I try to get people in, dispelling that myth. And no, you don't have to wait 7 years for it to repair. You can start on it today, no matter where it's at. And so it doesn't have to be as scary as we make it out to be.
And that's a good segue back to where you came from. Like you said, you had a credit card, you put $1,500 on it, got a mentor, and now look where you are.
Correct. Yeah,
But
it was an investment.
yeah, what if you didn't have that 1,500? Could have had you
Right.
5 steps back right now.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? So for someone who does have a low credit score and they're drowning in it, and they're afraid, they're intimidated, what are some of the first steps, a couple, to get into credit recovery, to get your
Right. So the first thing is just accepting where you are. I know so many people, they won't open mail. They won't answer phone calls from 702 numbers. I mean, I call clients all the time. They're like, man, I thought you was a bill collector.
right.
And so we just have to stop being so scared and understanding that, I mean, they can't take you to jail. So once we just get over the denial phase of, okay, my credit is jacked up. Now let's just come up with the solution.
Right.
And that's the thing, is that we too focused on a problem and not focused on a solution. So for those individuals who are in that situation, the first thing is, one, just pulling your credit, because the thing I tell people, that it's usually never as bad as they think it is. They're looking at the score and just thinking the credit is horrible. So for example, I had a client today, we pulled his credit, it was a 400, but he didn't have a lot of debt. He had one $300 credit card that was maxed out and went to collections.
Oh,
Excuse me. So his total amount of debt was $300.
and
But
it brought it
because,
down to a 400.
yeah. And so
That's tough.
literally all we have to do is get that $300 collection account cleaned up, and he's back in the game. But because he was intimidated by the score, but that also comes because he wasn't educated on how credit works or what it looks like. And so that's again why I so passionately going out here educating people and saying, hey, we need to just understand the basics of credit.
Right.
What makes up a credit score? Understanding the credit profile, because I always say when you take care and focus on the profile, the score will take care of itself. And so, and I get it. People that come from communities like ours, we weren't taught about credit. We weren't taught about financial literacy. We weren't taught about savings. We weren't taught about creating wealth. I mean, in a lot of households in the Black community, we scared to talk about money. And I don't get that to save my life, but we'll go brag on our favorite entertainers who's a millionaire. Like, and so we just have to have a paradigm shift of and having these dialogues within our households. But yeah, the first thing I would do, go and pull your credit, and then understanding why your credit is the way it is,
Right.
because there's so much BS and so much fluff. And I mean, nowadays, anybody with a cell phone and a social media page is an expert. And
Right.
so now you got to
Right.
decipher to see, okay, what's the real and what's not. And I always say that BS to get somebody to the top, but it won't keep you there. So that's why it's such a revolving door in this space. So just make sure that you have discernment when you're seeking individuals, because I always say it's 3 people you need on your corner, on your team: a tax specialist, a financial specialist, and a credit strategist. And so with that credit strategist, they're going to be able to help you to navigate and helping you get in a better position in understanding credit, how to repair it, how to maintain it. And a lot of that I even talk about in my book, Credit is King, which, a lot of people have revered as been something that's been beneficial to them and helping them just to understand it, at a layman's terms, because it's a lot of people that don't look like me in this space who
Mhm.
are using big words that we really don't understand. So that's another reason it's intimidating. We make it sound scary. And so I just try to make it relatable and make people understand, look, it's not the end of the world. Your credit can be repaired. I don't care what your situation is. So, just first thing, just to answer your question, go pull your credit, go look at it, see where it's at, and then start to learn and understand what you need to do to repair it. It may take some time, but I mean, what are you going to be doing anyway during that time?
Right.
So just go ahead and be patient, and you'll be in a better position more, sooner than you know.
Okay. Great advice. Great advice. And also, for everyone who doesn't know where to go to pull your credit, you can go to
Yes.
annualcreditreport.com. They give you a free credit report, one each year for all three boroughs. Go pull your credit. It's gonna have everything on there. It's gonna probably have stuff
Today.
on there you didn't even know was on there. You can dispute it right from there. All that.
Definitely.
Or you can go see somebody like Will. Take it a step
Yes, we
further,
can help you too.
get your credit
Yeah.
pulled, and figure it out. Right?
Right.
Yeah. And can you explain the difference between revolving credit and what is it called? Installment credit?
Yeah, great question. So those are the two types of credit that report on your credit report. So an installment credit or installment account is anything with a fixed payment. So that would be a mortgage, an auto loan, your student loan. So no matter what that amount that you borrow, the payment is fixed. A revolving account would be a credit card, anything with the revolving balance,
Okay.
which means that if you have a credit card for $1,000 and you borrow 500, your payment is going to be one thing. But then when you get that $500 balance down to $100, your payment changes. It's revolving. Now, the quickest way to rebuild and build a credit profile is by getting revolving credit. And that is because based upon the algorithms of how credit works, the way the credit bureaus look at a credit profile, installment credit is typically credit that people have to pay. Meaning, if you have a mortgage, you probably need somewhere to live. If you have an automobile, you probably need to get back and forth to wherever you're going.
Right.
Versus with revolving, I call it miscellaneous credit. And when you know how to use miscellaneous credit, you're rewarded, you know, better using miscellaneous credit. And so with revolving, they know typically when things hit the fan and your income was to leave and this, that, and the third, odds are you're probably going to stop paying your credit cards first. So when you take care of those, they reward you in a stronger manner. So, and I say that to say a lot of people hear this, hey, come buy a car and help build your credit score.
Nah.
That is the worst advice because buying a car does not help you build your credit.
Right.
But you can go get a $300 credit card that will help you build your credit a lot faster.
Yep.
But there's other strategies that come behind in understanding that. And those are the things that we teach people in understanding the strategies. Because it's one thing to say, hey, I have a credit card, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like I had a client today who she went and paid off a couple accounts on her credit, but her score dropped. Well, she didn't know why because she didn't have the right strategies behind what she was doing. She was just doing it. And
Mm.
so that's the difference between revolving and installments and understanding the difference, how they work, how they benefit your credit, and also understanding when it comes to revolving, you have to have a certain ratio of the amount of revolving you use, or it also can impact your score. So, but again, we have to understand those things.
So we talking credit utilization, right?
Absolutely. That is correct.
And you got to keep that under what? 30?
30% or less.
30% or
And I
less.
always say 30%, that's a C average.
Yeah.
So if you have a 30%, that's like having a C in school. Of
Right.
course, we want to try to keep it as low or further below the 30% as possible.
And then also I want to add too, and I know you spoke on this on a couple of your lives. When you finally pay off that huge whopping credit card debt, don't cancel the card.
Absolutely not.
Listen, Will, I did that one time. So
Right?
I can firsthand tell you, listen, my score dropped 80 points.
I've seen it all the
I
time.
was like, man, what? And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, let me get some of this credit off my account, credit
Right.
off my, you know what I mean? Man, I did not
I,
know. I did not.
yeah.
I was just
Yeah.
dumb. Oh my God.
Hey, we've all been there. And I tell people what you don't know can't hurt you, and it will.
Yeah.
And so the reason that is because 35% of our score is based upon credit history. So let's say that credit card was one of your oldest accounts. You just close it. So when you close it, you no longer have that history,
Yeah.
which in turn drops your credit score. So again, you did right by paying the debt down.
Right.
You just didn't have the proper strategy at that time. So that's why I tell people it's really all about strategy. Life is really about strategy,
Right.
is what it boils
I
down
needed you
to.
back then, man.
Right.
I needed you back then. Let's talk about FICO score and your credit score. What's the difference between
Yes.
that? Because a lot of people do not know the difference between that. I talk to people and they're like, "What's that?"
Correct. So FICO score it's merely an algorithm of what calculates your score, and then they have different FICO scoring models. And so the FICO scoring model is the most commonly used by lenders. Now your credit score is something you can just go and pull. Now, typically, unless you're going to myfico.com and paying to get your actual FICO score, everything else is what we call a FICO score. It's within reason of what your actual FICO score is.
Okay.
Now, another thing is that they have different scoring models based upon whatever it is you're trying to get approved for. So your FICO score to buy a mortgage is completely different than your FICO score to buy an automobile.
Mm,
Completely different for your FICO score to be approved for a credit card. And so when you go to myfico.com, it will actually give you all three of those
okay.
scoring models, but it's an investment. And so sometimes I send people there and like, yeah, it's gonna cost you 49 bucks, and they're complaining. First thing I ask them is how much is your direct TV bill? If
Right.
your direct TV bill is $250, you know what, your priorities need to change.
Right.
So just understanding it's all an investment, but that's really the difference. It's an algorithm that the banks or the lenders are using to see if one is credit worthy.
And see, I did not know that because I know that I've gotten my FICO score a couple times and it was different. And I'm like,
Right.
wait, I thought it was this, and you're telling me it's higher. So I did not know that it was different FICO scores for mortgage lending, cars. Yeah. Wow. Taught me something.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. And let's get into your programs. So can you kind of give a quick overview about easy funding and we spoke on your credit. Let's call it credit uh, restoration, not repair,
Right.
right?
Right.
Talk about easy funding because I know that's helped a lot of people, man. Like,
Oh man.
especially people who want to get into like entrepreneurship.
Definitely.
Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. So essentially, it's just a creative financing strategy. One may ask, what does that mean? So most people don't understand when you're a new business, the first thing they say, hey, I want to go to the bank and get a small business loan. And
Hmm.
I tell people, no bank will give you a small business loan. And they say, I don't believe that. I'm saying, okay, I'll say, okay, go and try it. You have a better chance of winning the lottery.
Right.
And that is because banks do everything based off of statistics. And what that means is that they know statistically 89% of businesses fail within the first 1 to 2 years. So why would me as a bank give you tens of thousands of dollars and I know statistically you are going to fail?
Right.
And so the easy funding program that we offer is more of a creative financing strategy or creative funding strategy or creative capital strategy. So what does that mean? That means that we show people how to get revolving credit. They may say, well, what's the difference? Well, when you're trying to get a small business loan, it's a lot of red tape, a lot of paperwork, a lot of documents. They need financials, tax returns, profit and loss statement, and they want you to be in business a certain amount of time. When you're going and using our easy funding platform by leveraging creative financing, a couple different things a lot of people may not know. When you're trying to get revolving credit or revolving capital, the first thing is that you don't have to have any collateral. A lot of people don't know that. The
Mm.
reason that's so powerful is that typically your business is your collateral. And if you're not in business at least 2 years, your company has zero value. But when you're going after revolving credit, because you don't have to have any collateral, you can be open one day and go to the bank and apply for a credit card under your company. So that's one of the benefits.
Okay.
Secondly, little to no documentation. What does that mean? That means I can go to the bank and I don't necessarily have to show my proof of income if the bank doesn't require it. Versus if I try to go and get a business loan, I need to be able to show proof of income. Well, I'm a new business. I don't have any income.
Right.
So that's another benefit of it. And then it's non-discretionary. What does that mean? So if you try to go get a business loan, you have to show discretion of what the funds are being used for. So if you're saying it's for this building, you can only use it for that building. Whereas through our easy funding and we're going after creative financing, it's non-discretionary, meaning I can use it for whatever. So let's say you need to be able to purchase inventory. We get you a credit line for, let's say, 15,000, and your inventory is only going to cost you 2,000. You have some capital for inventory. Let's say you need some marketing capital. Your Facebook or YouTube ads or whatever may cost you $500 a month. Yeah, you may not have $500 in your bank account, but because I have that line of credit for 10 grand, guess what? I'm able to pay for my marketing.
Right.
And so, but again, it all boils down to the strategy. So essentially, whether you're a startup company, whether you've been open 1 day or 1 year, even if you're a seasoned company, if you're an individual that have multiple companies, our easy funding program has in the last 3 years helped over almost 3,000 businesses get upwards of probably close to over $900 million in capital. And this is in a course of 3 years because we've helped so many people get access to funding. Okay. And I don't like the term business credit because when people hear that, they think I can get credit for my business without using my social. Right. And that's not the case. Right. It's merely capital for your company. So whether it's personal credit cards, business credit cards, or a business line of credit or a personal line of credit, it's all capital. And that's the things that we show people within our easy funding program.
Okay, and so within the program, do you kind of educate them on how to go about paying all that back and not?
So we really can't show them how to pay it back because we don't know what their vehicle is or what they're using it for. And so that's where coaching comes in. So we do offer one-on-one coaching.
Okay.
Now,
got you.
The thing about the capital is not everybody who goes to our program is running a business. Mm-hmm. But I tell people and I always share my story. I learned about this strategy because that's how I was able to grow my business, when I got back in the industry of growing a business. Mm-hmm. But I didn't need the capital right away. And so the beautiful thing about revolving credit is that you only have to pay on it and use it when you need it. Right. Because remember, it's a revolving credit line. Right. So I may get the capital today, but may not start doing anything with the money for a year. Okay. But it's like insurance. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Okay. Because that's the last thing we want to do is, hey, I started a business, I'm in business, and I have an opportunity that starts tomorrow and I have no money. Right. Banks don't work that fast. So you always want to position yourself. And I have this thing where I say, you are where you are today is a direct reflection of the decisions you made 3 to 5 years ago. And so a lot of us, we try to make decisions for tomorrow today. Right. And we have to stop doing that. So I tell people, if you have aspirations of being in business, you should start building your capital stack now because you never know what you're going to need in a year or 2 years or even 2 months or 3 months from now.
Now with the easy funding program, because I know people will want to ask these type of questions. With the easy funding,
absolutely,
like the APRs, are those reasonable? Are they kind of in line with what most credit cards are at, or?
Yeah, great question. So yes, it's definitely in line with most credit cards, but I always tell people reasonable is subjective. Okay. And what I mean by that, so the average interest rate or APR on a revolving credit card or a line of credit, because it's no collateral and unsecured, is going to be anywhere between 7 to, let's just say, 19 to 20%. Right. Now, one may say, well, that's kind of high. And I'm like, compared to what? And then I just pause. Because what are your other options?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, the only other option that is out there when you're a business, they have basically it's called a payday loan for your company. Mm-hmm. And how that works is that you can have crappy credit. Based upon your bank statements, they'll lend you money short term, anywhere between 3 to 24 months. But there's a caveat. That money comes with a price. and the average interest rate on that is 30 to 250%. So most businesses go bankrupt because that's how they borrow money. I have several clients we've had to help them get out of those type of lending, those type of loan programs because it'll bankrupt you.
Yeah.
And so just to give people what the numbers look like, I have a client who borrowed $36,000. His payment is $1,200 a day.
$1,200 a
Yes,
day.
a day. So when people come to me and complaining about 7, 12, 13%, and they say that's expensive, I've said, show me where you can get cheaper money without showing proof of income,
Right.
without showing tax returns, without showing putting up any collateral, and your company hasn't even been open and made no money. you know,
Wow.
that's why the answer I always say is subjective. And I tell people if you can show me cheaper money, I will come and work for you.
That
So
$1,200 a day is insane, man.
oh yeah, and that's why a lot of companies go bankrupt.
Yeah, easy funding sounds like the way to go.
We've helped a lot of people. We've actually used easy funding to help people get out of those type of loans.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's talk about your books now, because I know
Okay.
you've got Credit is King, and you just
Definitely.
came out with Full Time CEO.
Yes. Full time CEO. The shit they don't tell you.
There you go.
Absolutely.
You can pick that up on Amazon. I do have the links to both books in the description on the replay of this video, so you guys can check that out. Go get that book, man. Get you some knowledge.
Definitely appreciate it.
So how was it writing the first one?
Man, it happened so organic, and I had literally had no expectation with the book. And so I remember I had a good friend who owns a publishing company,
Mm.
and he said, Will, you should write a book. And I was like, man, I don't know what to write about. Like, my life isn't that interesting. So he was like, just write about what you know. And I was like, man, it's a million credit books. He
Right.
was like, man, just write it from your point of view. And so one of the things that I learned after going through a lot of these credit books is they try to use all these fancy words and,
Mm.
again, the things that intimidate people. So I literally wrote the book from a high school point of view. So a person in high school can pick up the book and read it. And then I didn't want to necessarily do a how to because it's a million of those.
Right.
So I almost kind of wrote it like a manual. And
Okay.
I talk about everything from understanding what FICO scores and FICO scores are, understanding how to deal with collection agents, understanding the credit myths. Like people don't understand one credit myth would be if you marry someone with bad credit, you inherit their bad credit. And that's not true. You still, whatever you came to the table with, that's what you come with from the credit standpoint.
Okay.
So, I mean, credit laws, understanding how to deal with identity theft, student loan debt. So I just tried to talk about as much about understanding credit, how to maintain it, how to repair it. I have some sample letters in there. So it's really just a easy read. I've had people say, hey, I bought your book, and on a 3-hour flight going cross country, I almost completed it. So it's a very easy read. And one of the things I'm working on now is trying to get it in prisons and in high schools and colleges.
I was just
So
gonna
that's
ask
something
you
that I'm
that.
working
I
on.
was just gonna ask
Yes,
you that because, like you said, they don't teach it. They
they
don't
don't.
teach it. Not to that, you know what I'm saying? Not to that extent. They don't teach it. So I was gonna ask you, have you partnered up with any high schools to try to get it on their reading list and you know what I mean? Just get more students in the know of credit before they even get out there and get that first credit card with the vultures that try to get them on college campuses.
Yeah,
you know what
that's
I
where they get them at. Yeah, not, and so I have been working on that right now. I donate 100 books to a school usually every quarter,
mean?
just so that it's going out there because I at least want them to get the information. And I mean, in the books, I mean, to this day, I'm actually so surprised of how well it sells because again, I had no expectation. I literally wrote it. I So one of the things that I learned in business is that I don't carry business cards often. And people ask me, why don't you carry business cards? And they're like, and I tell people, because people don't do business with you because you have a business card.
Right.
I can remember going to networking events, giving out my cards, and I go outside, they're all on the floor.
All on the floor.
But my business card is my book. You're not going to throw that on the floor,
Right.
And
Right.
so when I'm at airports, when I'm in events, I'll give people a book first.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's now my business card. So that's really why I wrote the book. It was my business card, and I tell every single business owner,
Smart.
you should write a book. I don't care if it's a pamphlet with 15 pages. That is your new business card, just to tell people about what you do, how you do it, why they should do business with you, and why you're the expert in your industry or field. That's your new business card.
Man, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yes,
Never thought about it that way, for real.
absolutely.
And what about full-time CEO? What's
Yeah,
that?
so full so full-time CEO, like I mentioned, I never wanted to be pegged as just a credit guy.
Mm,
So when people was asking me, "Hey, when you gonna write your next book?" Everybody was expecting me to drop another credit book, and I'm like, "No, I want to do a book on entrepreneurship because that's really what my calling is, I feel."
right.
And so, but there's so many different books that talk about, "Hey, you stay up late and go to every networking event and you're going to be successful." I didn't want to write a book like that. So I wanted to tell people the shit they don't tell you about in business. You're going to lose friends. You're going to lose money. You're going to probably lose a relationship. Like everything that can go bad in business will go bad on your journey. And so that's the shit they don't tell you about in business. And so this book is really just a kind of a culmination of some of my stories, a lot of my failures that I talked about. So I was completely vulnerable in this book and just talking about the things that you don't think about because also often, like take someone who can bake a great cake. They'll go and want to open a restaurant or a bakery, not knowing they know nothing about business.
Right.
So the odds on them succeeding is very slim. I want to tell you why you have to, what you need to learn to in order to grow the business. It's not just about knowing how to bake a cake. And so that's pretty much what the book is about, is teaching people the unglamorized side of being an entrepreneur, you know,
Okay. And that's needed.
which is also my other business card.
Right, 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 right.
You know?
And that's definitely needed, and that's what I'm talking about with my show, man. That's what I want to give people. It's
Right,
what they don't know, what they don't know,
right.
and what some people won't tell them because you got a lot of gatekeepers that don't want to give them information. People are in a race and they don't want to give them the information. So I do appreciate you being very transparent with everything
Thank you.
you have given. Before we wrap this up, I gotta talk about. Well, I want you to talk about your experience with the TED Talk platform
Oh man. Yes.
and just give us kind of like a quick overview of like the 50 men, the initiative you're doing down in Milwaukee. What else you got going, man? You got so much going
I
on.
got a lot of stuff going on,
Yeah, you
man.
teach
Yeah.
at the J Morrison Academy.
Right. Right.
What else? And then, well, okay, we'll talk about the trademark stuff in a minute, so I don't want to
All
forget.
right. Definitely.
But yeah, talk
Definitely.
about TED Talks, and then let's talk about 50 Men and what you're doing in Milwaukee. I think that's very
Yeah. So, thank you. So I can remember just when TED Talk became popular and just seeing people going on there and talking about different topics and things like that. And so when I got the initial call and they were like, "Hey, we want you to come and do a TED Talk," I'm like, first I was extremely excited, but I'm like, man, I'm really not a speaker like that.
yeah,
But they were like, "No, we've heard your talks and this, that, and the third." And so, I mean, it was literally I literally thought it was a dream just because that's almost like the pinnacle for
right,
someone who is in the world of speaking.
yeah,
And so, but what's so crazy is I remember I didn't want to talk about credit though, because that's what everybody expected me. So I actually went on and talked about the power of failure
okay,
and talking about how we have been we have been conditioned to think failure is a bad thing. But failure really is just preparation for success.
right,
Failure is not an event. A lot of times we fail because we didn't prepare properly. A lot of times we fail just because it's not our time to succeed. And so understanding that when you view failure as just okay, it's just not my time, I need to keep working on myself. It's nothing that can shake you or knock you off your rocker. And so we just have to have a different relationship when it comes to failure. And so that's what the TED Talk is about. And it just talks about my life and my journey and how I failed my way to where I am. And that's what I always tell people. You have to fail your way to success. And the sooner you understand the power of failure, I believe that can dictate how fast you get to the levels of success that you're striving for. And so that just kind of segues into what your next question is that I've tried so many things in life, but once I kind of said I feel I found my calling
mm-hmm.
in this space, I just wanted to give as much as I can. And I learned by one of my mentors by the name of Jim Rohn, and he said, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll be blessed beyond measures. And so that's why, we go out and do the corner classes where we're literally going across the country, setting up right in the hood. When we're in Chicago, we're on Madison and Pulaski,
Right.
the hood.
Yeah,
When we're at, in LA and Leimert Park, when we're in Milwaukee, we're on 60th and Fond du Lac. I mean, we're just right in the middle of the hood outside teaching a financial literacy class for free.
Yeah.
Anybody can pull up. And I mean, we've had instances where it's been so many people outside, the police have pulled up because they didn't know what was going on. And then they actually end up staying and saying, wow, this is powerful. And so that's one of the things that we do. We have the 50 Men series where we go into the barbershops and the beauty salons and educate them and the customers and the clients inside the shop about financial literacy, about credit, about entrepreneurship. Because in the Black community, the barbershop and the salon, that's like our mecca. That's our, that's our sanctuary.
Right.
That's where we go, for everything. And so that was one of the things that I wanted to do, to really just, again, kind of give back. And that's what we do. So, that's what we're so passionate about, is being able to give people this information, because one decision, one great idea, one nugget away from getting to that next level. And if we can say one thing that sparks you to go and find what that next thing is to help you get to that next level, it was all worth it.
Right.
And so that's one of the things. Of course, I have my podcast. I have, my YouTube channel. I mean, it's just a lot that we do. So I tell people, because I know I can't sit down with everybody.
Right.
But that's why we have so many different platforms. I have my FICO Fridays. Every Friday I go live on Instagram.
Yep.
Unless I'm on a plane.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for the past 3 years religiously, and it's almost became a cult following. When I had to postpone it this past Friday because I was traveling, and people got upset. Like, man, I canceled my date to get on. And so, but
Wow.
it's just kind of cool to see that people are buying into the information.
Yeah.
And then in Milwaukee, we have the Ground Up initiative where, we're helping, underserved individuals, because Milwaukee is my hometown, be able to understand it's easier to be approved for a house than a credit card. But people don't understand how ridiculously simple the process is because we don't have the right information. And I get it. It was designed that way on purpose. They don't want us. And when I say us, I'm talking about our communities, the Black, brown, minority communities, to get access to this information. And so the Ground Up initiative, that's what we're doing. No matter, what level of education you're on, what your income is, there's programs that are out there. And so that's one of our initiatives in my hometown, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So, I mean, for a lot of people who don't know, you can buy a house in Milwaukee for $30,000. I mean, that's
Wow.
that's less than what some people are about to go and put their tax refund towards to buy a vehicle.
Right.
You
Right.
know, so
Wow.
at 30,000, I mean, you only have to put down 3.5%. So we're seeing people get tax refunds in these communities for $9,000, $10,000. That can be going towards a down payment on the house. But now we got to show you how to properly qualify yourself, how to properly find a property, all of those things. And that's what the Ground Up initiative is really just educating people economically, become more financially savvy on the home buying process. We're going to help them restore their credit. We're going to connect them with the proper lenders. We're going to help them get the banking. And then we even are going to be assisting in the lieu of if they need, rehab for the property, helping them, find, contractors that are within the budget to make sure that they still can get into a property that's within their approval budget.
Right.
And so that's what that's about. And that's something that's near and dear to my heart, primarily because it's my hometown.
Man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And it's even more inspiring and just, man, because what people don't understand is, like you said, they don't want us to know.
They don't.
Sadly so. And I don't even like to speak on all that, honestly. But it's sad because it's true. And they don't want us to know why. Because once you get a home or home ownership and you can get equity and you can eventually flip that house and get all that income
Tax
and
free.
tax free, what, 250, right?
Well, anytime. So, like, if you own a property and you have equity, for those who don't know, equity is the amount you owe versus the value of the property.
Mm-hmm.
You can refinance, pull that equity out, and use it for whatever tax free.
Tax free. So now
That is something that is
you have a
powerful.
leg up. You can give that to your children. You can start a business. You can do whatever. And now you have a leg up. They don't want you to know that. And a lot of people are so afraid of even, because I'm a realtor, so I hear that. Oh man, my credit's so shot, man. I can't get a house, or I just don't have the money. I don't da da da. I'm like, listen, man, you don't understand how easy. You don't
Very.
understand where you stand. You don't even know where you stand. Go see a mortgage lender and just talk to them and try to see. Let them pull your credit. Let them see what it really is, and tell you'll be surprised. But like you said, people hold themselves back. Others try to hold us back because why? It's a leg up.
Yeah.
You could really change your life, your family's life. It could be generational. It's like
It's powerful.
legacy is what it is, and you will
Like,
not have that if you don't know.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Absolutely.
That's one of the number one reasons why they don't want you to know. But hey, educate yourself. If you don't have someone like Will, pick up a book. You can find it in a book. Book can change your life, man. Change your life.
Hey, it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube with you. It's on
Right, right,
YouTube with
right.
you. You know what I mean? Just do the research, do your homework, educate yourself. You got to invest in yourself. Investing in yourself is not always money. It's not always money, y'all.
It's time.
Time, man.
Oh, okay, absolutely.
Time is more valuable than money. You don't have the time to make the money. What do you have? You don't have time to invest in yourself to make the money. What do you have? Nothing. So, yeah. Hey, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. But man, I really appreciate you coming on here and expounding on everything that you do,
Oh
giving
man,
these nuggets.
appreciate the invite.
Giving these nuggets. I had people that were telling me, "Man, I'm gonna tune in, man. I wanna, I know that brother. I heard that,
Right,
heard of it, man. I
right.
gotta hear it." So keep doing what you're doing. Keep pouring it.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Keep being genuine with what you're doing,
Thank you.
and just loving on people, man, because it shows in everything that you're doing. I got all of your links down in the description. I got the TED Talk down there. I got all your books. I got all your social media platforms. So if you guys want to connect with Will, it's all in the description, all in one shot. You have no excuse. Reach out to the brother. Like you say, he does business coaching. He got the easy funding, the credit restoration, all of that. So there's no
One
gimmick.
stop shop.
Yeah, one stop shop, man. There's no gimmicks. It's not a money grab. We didn't come on here to sell you anything. Just came on here
Not
to
at
give
all.
you value. You could trust me. Even if you don't use Will's services, you could take what he's giving now and just change your life. This is giving you a head start of something you may not have known. And if you did know, I'm pretty sure he's dropped something on here you did not know. Cause I didn't know about the different FICO scores.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like just simple things like that.
Definitely.
Because the FICO score, like you said, the FICO score is not your credit score.
Right.
So your credit score may be shot, but your FICO score may be better than your credit score. And you're saying to yourself, "Well, I can't get this, I can't get that." Go check your credit, man.
Gotta pull that.
MyFICO.com, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's gonna be an investment, but it's well worth it.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. 49.99, right?
Somewhere around there. It's
Somewhere
less than a
around there.
cable bill. I know that.
Right. Yeah, less than your cable unless you're doing some ISP TV service.
Right.
Oh, before we go, we got to talk about just real quick. Let
Yeah.
everything tell people the importance of securing your name in business. You have trademark phrases, man.
Oh man, I'm
Leverage
trademarking
everything.
everything
You got
because it's all about ownership. It's all about ownership. So yeah, the credit is king is the tagline I just came up with, and so I trademarked that. 50 men, full time CEO. I'm not sure they can see that. Leverage everything, and so it's really just about ownership because we don't own nothing, and I wanted to be able to own a part of the a legacy that I'm creating.
yeah.
And so everything that we do, our merchandise, our companies, I tell everybody you should trademark your name, your company name. And the reason I say that actually, and I'll be real quickly with this story, I have a good friend of mine who plays sports, professional basketball. And before he graduated college, right before he entered the draft, somebody trademarked his name.
Wow.
So he can never get a website with that name. It's very little he can do with the likeness of his name because somebody else trademarked it.
His
So
government
ownership,
name?
his government name, somebody trademarked,
So
bought
what
the
about like
domain,
jersey
everything.
sales? What about like jersey sales and stuff?
I mean, I'm not sure how that works. I just know they trademarked his
That's
name.
crazy. You know what? I mean, if it was something with it, the NBA probably bought it and they made money off of him.
or I just know that that person who name got trademark, he's not capitalizing like he should be. Let's just put it like that. So
That is
trademark
crazy.
everything, your company name,
Did you
trademark
trademark
it,
your
trade
name? Did you trademark?
everything we own is trademarked. Yes.
Man, that's a smart move. Wow, that's see, man. Who thinks of that? Who would think to trademark their own name? This is
Yeah.
great, man. This is great. This is great. This is stuff you pay for, y'all. I'm telling you. This
The
man
shit they
right
don't tell
here.
you.
Right. The shit they don't tell you. Oh, that
Right.
is great. Brother, it's been a great time, man. Hey, we've
Appreciate that.
gone way over. It said 30 minutes. We've been on here for an hour, but it felt like
Oh
30.
man.
But it's
Right. It flew by.
good. It's good.
Definitely.
It's great, man. Well, I appreciate your time, taking the time
Thank you.
out. This man jumped off of a live to hop on this. He's moving, y'all. So
Right.
really appreciate your time.
Thank you,
And
man.
every and I, love everything you're doing, man. Keep doing your thing, brother. Keep doing your thing.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you and appreciate everybody's support. So thank y'all, and man, we'll hopefully I'll get come back on again, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a year-end roundup, little wrap
Okay.
up, whatever you want to call it, at the end of this year. I'll definitely have you back on, kind of see what new initiatives you got going on and
Absolutely.
all of that good stuff, man. So you're on the
Okay.
list for sure.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
All right, man. You have a good night.
Okay.
Everybody, go follow Will. Everything is Mr. Will Roundtree, except for YouTube. It's just Will Roundtree. Make sure you follow him, subscribe, all that, man. You will not listen. Trust me. Just go follow him. All right.
Right. Appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Till next week,
All right.
Will Roundtree, y'all. Thank you, brother.
Peace.
Peace out.
Thank you, man.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Later.